Okay, so we're gonna start our highlight of this event. Yes. So please welcome our beautiful panelists. So we're gonna have Marek Gut, the CEO of Yorkaya. You're welcome. Hello. And we're gonna have Maciej Kraus from Movens Capital, who are gonna play the role of the pricing guru today, because we're going to talk about discounts, right? So makes sense. And then we have Mateusz Załupski, head of marketing at Incogni, who's gonna today question some things. And we also have Kamil Bogunkowski, who is about to enter the room very soon. So no, it's not him, but he's going to be here in a second, so we're going to get started, and Kamil going to kind of join in. So this is going to be interesting. One panel is joining on the go. So, okay, we still have people joining. Okay, it's still not Kamil, but he's gonna be there in a second. So today is for me important because this subject, as I said, is exciting for myself, but also for the audience, because we're going to talk about the biggest holiday of marketers, and some people love it, some people hate it. Maybe I'm going to actually show the questions that I prepared for the panelists, so you guys going to have it, and you guys should not look at it, obviously, as always, but it's a good thing for myself. And the first question that I want to talk about with my panelists is, what's your take on Black Friday? Do you like to do it in your businesses? Do you like not to do it? Who would you recommend to do it, and who would you recommend not to do it? And I know there are some different opinions in this group, so I'm gonna maybe start with Mateusz in this time. Okay, so you'll start with someone who's like in the middle between the enthusiasm and being negative about the Black Friday. Like, don't worry, we will wrap up with Marek, who's like a huge enthusiast. So if you need a positive boost, then definitely he's the guy to sort of sell the idea of Black Friday to you. I actually had a funny discussion with my team this year, because obviously whenever you ask marketers, like, what should we do to push our sales, drive customer acquisition later this year? Black Friday, Black Friday, Black Friday. No one has any other idea what to do. But I personally don't really believe that for our type of product, Black Friday will make a lot of sense. So I challenged the team. I told them, okay, like, there's no rush. Let's do the promo. I allow you to do a Black Friday deal. Can you, Mateusz, just describe the product? Yes, describe to the audience, okay, because not everyone understands what Incogni does. Of course. So Incogni is part of Surfshark. Like, you probably know Surfshark, NordVPN. And Incogni is an online data removal service that allows you to remove your personal information from public and commercial databases. It's not that popular within EU because we have GDPR, but in markets like US, Brazil, Thailand, Africa, etc., it's quite popular. But it's not a product that you're actively seeking for until you actually have some problems. You know? I can give you an example. Imagine that you are a judge in the US, and someone can just type in your name, surname, and city in Google, and for $5, $10, buy a report on you, where you live, what car you drive, how much money you make, your interests, passions, etc., and use it against you. So this is the type of service. So you typically don't really buy it until you have a need for it. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I don't really see why Black Friday would actually work for this type of product. So I asked the team, okay, let's prepare a test. Let's actually gather enough data in that time from a non-promo, non-Black Friday users and Black Friday users. And then we will sit down in May, look at the cohorts, look at what was the customer acquisition cost, what was the retention rate for the monthly subscription, and then we'll make a decision in May whether it makes sense for us to do the promo again next year. But this is for Incogni. From Surfshark perspective, I can give you a different one. So Surfshark is a VPN, so obviously it doesn't make much sense for you to have many VPNs at once. So you typically buy one subscription for a month, a year, or 2 years. And in that case, it's a very important season for sales because you're fighting for a higher market share for your product. So for this type of product, where you buy it for a longer period of time and you want to gain market share, it makes a lot of sense for you to actually do the Black Friday deal, do the promo, and increase your share, increase the amount of users that you acquire for your service. So that's at least my perspective.
So what does the pricing guru say about them?
Maybe just to give you a reference, I mostly work for more like established companies with, let's say, hundreds of billions of zlotys and dollars in revenues. And what I see is, roughly speaking, 80% or even up to 90% of the Black Friday promos, after you analyze them, let's say 2-3 months later, they end up as a pure margin drain. Nothing else than that. So from this perspective, I'm against, Black Friday, just looking purely at the number. It does not mean that, let's say, you should not just do something for Black Friday. What I'm trying to say is just to maybe be smart about it and don't go too aggressive and really think what is the goal of those, Black Friday activities. What do you want to achieve? Is it to gain market share? Is it to build, awareness? Is it to get new users? So and then have a targeted actions to achieve those different goals. Because what I've seen in a lot of companies is, let's do a Black Friday -30 on everything. From my perspective, this is one of the most stupid things you can do. Maybe you have a different view. I would rather advise on some more, I would say, personalized approaches for Black Friday, thinking what is really the goal of this promo. Is it, everybody's doing Black Friday, so we should just follow along? Maybe that's not the best reason to have those Black Friday deals. The other thing I would be really cautious about is, in a lot of industries, I've seen that customers get used to the Black Friday thing. So it's not that you can prepare a month in advance, they prepare a month in advance. So they are not purchasing, or they're just, let's say, stopping, the purchases, because they know last year we got such a great deal on Black Friday that, I was, let's say, stock up with the product for the next 6 months. So now I know that the last purchase I've done was in March, so still I can wait, and I will just stock up for the whole year on Black Friday, which, again, is not so successful from the manufacturer or the seller's perspective.
Just to interrupt on this, why is it not successful? Because I agree with everything you said before, but if somebody stocks up with a physical product for 6 months, and you can fulfill his whole 12-month LTV within 2 packages, that's great for margin, right? As long as you have the discount calculated in and it makes sense, right? Because when you talk about retention, you should purely look at retention in the form of money, right? A customer who buys for 1,000 zloty once a year is a much better customer for me than the one who buys, pays 100 zlotys or maybe 85 zlotys every month, because you get additional costs that go along with the fulfillment process.
Yeah, so obviously it all depends on the products that you're selling. Actually, recently I've been working for a biggest diaper manufacturer in the world. So for them, just doing a Black Friday makes 0 sense at all. Like purely 0, because most, let's say, users of diapers, they are super loyal to one brand. So,
but they also need it, and in a way, it's somewhere where I see the consensus here, right? Because in some cases, you can stock up on diapers, but there's this perspective which maybe me as a woman can bring here, that babies, they grow, So, you can stock up, but, maybe your child gonna change a little bit. So if you stock up with a wrong type of diaper, that makes no sense.
Then you get frustrated and you blame the manufacturer for the fact that they made you buy those diapers. So that's another problem that you're gonna face up in the future. But I don't think we should search for consensus. I think, for some companies and for some brands, Black Friday is a perfect opportunity to grow their business, to, let's say, boost up the sales, to stock up the customers. For the others, it's not such a great option. I would simply, let's say, do it in a smarter way, in the way that maybe, what is the minimum kind of discount you would have to give as an incentive for someone to stock up, in your case, for the whole year?
Okay, since we've got Kamil here, I'm sure he's coming up with some fresh perspective.
Hopefully, I would say so. So great to see you guys. Sorry for being late, but you know, it's like almost shopping pre-season, so that's why I'm late. No, I'm just
everyone is buying for the pre-Black Friday promos already. But the question that guys are trying to explore is like whether companies should do Black Friday or skip on Black Friday. And obviously, there's some discussion, and maybe it would be nice to hear what's your opinion.
So it
and don't say it depends.
I'm just going to say it. I know what you said before, but from my side, it depends. In Polish, it's to zależy, and that's the perfect answer because at the end of the game, it depends on your product, on your business, on your customer needs, what its characteristic of your products. Is it like, you know, you got higher prices, lower prices, higher margin or lower margin? So it really depends on the situation. And at the end of the day, it also depends on the category of your business. Because I don't know if you talk about that, but there are some categories that are more worthy to think about the Black Friday and definitely do it because your competition is going to do it, like the electronics. In Polish case, it's going to be MediaMarkt, Euro, RTV, AGDN, etc.
So they already started, by the way. Yeah. Media Expert already has Black Weeks for like 10 days.
So they are going to have it like, I do believe, not only for 1 week, they are going to have it at least for 1 month. And if you are not going to be present during that time, you are going to lose a bit of the market. So depending on the category, you need to do it. And the other side, so I'm the expert of the e-commerce and the retail. So I work with many various brands and also in the e-grocery and e-grocery business. So at the end of the day, you got the product connected with the basic need. Like, you know, you need to have a shopping and you need to go to the store and make a grocery shopping. So in this case, I will be thinking if it's worthy to do so.
Yeah.
So there's no simple answer to that. You need to think about the business and then decide what you want to do.
What about hygienic products? Because we still have Marek. He's enthusiastic and he's like so quiet because everyone is doubtful. And what's your opinion?
So I totally agree with the sense that it depends. It really depends on the type of business you're in. I'd say. No, I'd agree. It would work for our menstruation business as well because we are a little bit more upscale, and I'd say it's the same case with diapers. If you have an upscale brand that some customers aspire to buy, but you know maybe don't have on a daily basis enough in their budget to go with it. Black Friday is a great opportunity to stock up with products, even for a baby. If you can't afford Pampers and you get a good discount on Pampers, some of the customers with less income will buy. But we have a much wider portfolio right now. We don't not only work in menstruation business, but we do have cosmetics, we have face care, we have body care, we have deodorants, we have shaving, and we're entering into various different product verticals. And so having that in mind, we always look at Black Friday with the long term in mind, which I think is something that everybody has agreed upon already during this discussion. And there are different ways to cater towards that long term. So last year, what we did is we invested a lot in marketing consent, especially in SMS. So you could get a discount, a big one, as long as you give us a consent, especially for SMS marketing. Because if you work in a retention business, but also in a business when you get a lot of shopping around, which is cosmetics, and you try to maximize that retention by having a loyalty program, what you need for the loyalty program to work is great deliverability. And with SMS, you get the best deliverability, much better than with email. So our assumption was, okay, we're going to give out big discounts, but we're going to build the marketing base a lot, and this will feed our business all throughout the year. But obviously, you get some kind of a trade-off with that because the attention span is really, really short during Black Friday, and you get bombarded with different discounts from all over the place, and the customer has to be able to make a very quick, swift decision. So it has to be easy, and giving a consent is not the easiest thing to do. You'd say, okay, what's the issue with that? Well, the email will take too long with the discount to come, or you just, get fed up and buy somewhere else. And especially if you work in omnichannel, as we do right now, which we haven't done last year, the trade-off is, okay, I'll buy somewhere else with a, a little bit smaller discount, but without giving the SMS consent. And this, this basically hurts our business because the ARPU, which is the average revenue per user, is going to be smaller because it's a multi-brand. So this year, when we thought about retention, when we thought about the goals for Black Friday, we had two. So one is obviously acquisition. I believe that for the Black Friday strategy to work, you have to, build the base for it all throughout the year. So you work from, December the year before to generate good revenues during Black Friday. So you build the engagement base. That's what we always do. At the top of the funnel, we try to engage the users, which are not yet customers. And once you give them a strong signal to buy, then they respond really well. So this is one thing, acquisition. And the other thing is retention among customer segments that are really not that sticky. So for the sticky customers, not really that big of a deal. It actually hurts you. For very loyal subscribers, it just eats up the margin. That's it, as you said before. But in a cosmetic business, in the menstruation business as well, actually, as it turns out, you get customers who buy a product and don't come back after for the next 6 or 7 or 8 months, and it doesn't really mean that they don't like the product. It's just that the offer is so huge, and you get such an abundance of different brands wherever you go that it's very hard to keep you loyal to a single product. And for these customers, the big discount is going to be a good way to bring them back, with the goal of having them spend as much as possible so they can cover the whole annual LTV.
So they're going to be those that going to stock up on your product, and you're going to be happy.
And there's nothing wrong with stocking up as long as it's successful, right?
And as long as you use the product, right? Because at the end of the day, you want your customers to use it, not just to have it. And that's
just another comment about, you mentioned before bundles. What's good about bundles? Obviously, we maximize the AOV and so on, all the different things that I've mentioned before. But also what you offer is an exploration among your portfolio. So that's how you improve your LTV as well. You get customers that are loyal to your, for instance, in our case, your intimate wash and your pads, but they don't really buy your face care because they're used to buying different stuff. But you give them a 30% discount, and maybe they're going to try out. And when you're convinced that you have a very good product, that is a great chance to increase the LTV of an already loyal customer.
Good point. And I have the second question that I also think can bring up some controversies, because we know that for some brands this year was a bit hard, for others wasn't so. Like, you guys have different experiences, but now year to year in Poland, we see that revenues overall during the Black Friday are rising. So what's going to happen this year? Like, let's try to be a little bit of fortune tellers. What would you expect? Do you think that, again, this year, Poles will spend more money during Black Friday than last year? Or maybe not necessarily. And then in the businesses that you're working at, or maybe you're advising or you're involved at somehow, do you think they're going to have a better Black Friday than last year, or a worse one? What are you anticipating?
It's so hard question, and maybe I would start.
It depends.
It depends once again, but maybe not this time. That's not a clear answer to that. Firstly, this year we got like the omnibus directive, and it's going to change a bit of the rule, yeah. Because at the end, it's going to be the price and the understanding of the price from the customer point of view.
Walking it's going to be make most money.
Walking is going to make money, definitely this time. So it's going to be more honest, open, and a clear communication and the promotion to the customer this year than the year before. So from my side, looking at maybe, that's the first point, directive, the omnibus directive, and the question is a bit hard, but Also thinking about the revenue. Currently, when you think about the trend, the e-commerce, what's going on, there is a bit of decline in e-commerce depending on the business, but I don't know what about your business, but definitely the growth, it's not so big as we expect or my customer expect before. So it's hard, it's fortune teller. I do believe that it's going to be a bit higher because the prices, we got a huge inflation, so the prices are just going up, but looking at the volume, we are going to sell less than before.
Yeah, it's a little bit about thinking. So because of the inflation, because of everything, are people now waiting for this Black Friday to spend? Because they think, okay, Black Friday gonna come, so I'm gonna buy this blouse, this pot, this everything, this cosmetic that I always wanted. Or they are just not into spending, right, this year, because they're spending, in fact, less.
I think you assume that people plan things. It's a big assumption.
There are different people in the world, right? And different plans they make, Maybe they don't plan savings, but might plan spendings.
I think year over year, the volume might be similar, but I think categories will shift. So we'll just buy different products.
Like for instance?
Maybe you won't buy another pair of shoes, but you just switch for something that will be more useful for you, or you have been waiting for something. Just less consumption of those basic goods because you have promos on them all the time. Plus, in electronic segments, for example, with Omnibus Directive, maybe Media Expert, EuroRTV, and all of the others won't be able to prove to you that it's actually a good deal because they probably had a similar one 5 times already this year. So you'll just buy other things, maybe higher volume of sales for digital products. We see that digital products are growing really fast. So maybe in that category, you will see a significant increase in sales. But I'm not that optimistic about overall like GMV or like volume value of sales because,
Maciej?
So I think for the products and categories that had a tough year, it's not going to make a change. So there's not going to be the turnaround on the Black Friday. And for the ones that are on the growth trajectory, I think it can be another boost. So if I were in a growing category or a product that had a growth year, I would definitely invest into Black Friday. And if you had a tough year, I wouldn't hope that it's going to change your end result for the whole year.
Okay. Marek?
No idea. I mean,
But you will grow.
Yeah, we will. I mean, we are not a business that has a very heavy Black Friday distribution. I'd say it's actually pretty low. So it's not like we make, 30% of our revenue on Black Friday. No, far from that, to be honest with you. But we do expect the month to be the best month of the year, that's for sure. It's to be honest with you, me as a founder, sometimes you're so focused on a very specific niche that you work in that it's hard for me to put the shoes of an analyst and just pretend to say I can tell the trend is going to be this or that. I have no idea. In our case, if you have a brand that is working all year long about on engagement, and this engagement is not monetized, within the same month, it takes a lot for us to push the customer through. Sometimes, especially once you reach a certain size, each additional customer is going to be a little more expensive. I mean, we do believe it's going to be strong.
So today, during the previous presentation we asked Stripe, we shared some winning set of strategies that we use when we run the anticipation campaigns before the Black Friday, then we run the Black Friday, and then Cyber Monday, so to max out on the period. But I'm wondering, what are the best strategies in terms of offer and pricing that you have seen on the businesses that you have worked at, that you owned, or that you have observed out there for maxing on the Black Friday period?
I would say if you're doing Black Friday, remember about your current customers.
Okay, that's a good point.
Don't piss them off. Like people actually learned that with telecommunication companies or providers, when you already have the subscription on their services, they don't really like that when they see that new users have a significantly better deal than they have. So just remember that you also have people that you already paid to acquire in the past. If you're about to invest in Black Friday, just remember about those people, but also have in mind that it basically means that you're giving up on your profit margin because you're giving out discounts to people who already like your product and use your product.
Second point I would add to that, think about the seasonality and the season that you got currently, because when I'm asking many companies, okay, what sell during the Black Friday, usually they just answer and give me the product, so the category that sell during the whole year. And sometimes when you think about that, it's not the same product, especially, the sport and tourism, yeah? It's going to change. The behavior is going to change during the season, the winter season, and also the intensity and what people are generally buying during the time. So think about also the seasonality and the products that you are selling.
Okay, so I here got grilled that stocking up is not a good idea. So I will give you an example from my other recent client, which is a big confectionery company. And they will be very aggressive on Black Friday because they actually want people to stock up. Because actually confectionery is a perfect, or chocolate or healthy bars, is a perfect example of a product that you want customers to stock up for the reason that they think, okay, I will buy, 3, let's say, boxes of chocolate. It's gonna last 3 times longer.
No.
Actually, you're very wrong. It's gonna last, exactly the same as for a 1 box of chocolate.
That's very evil, actually, from the health standpoint.
I'm a pricing guy, not a health, nutritionist or nothing. So actually for this one, I would very much encourage just making bundles that would increase your shopping basket value and encourage customers to stock up. Other idea that I recently seen in one of the fashion retailers is that you just have in a portfolio products that you position only as an add-on for a Black Friday promos. So imagine you're selling whatever, just women fashion clothes, and then you have some beautiful, designer scarf that you just put there on a high ticket price, only for a reason that, like, if you buy on Black Friday and spend whatever 1,000 zlotys, you're gonna get this scarf that's been there for 500 zlotys for the whole year, selling 0 pieces. You get it for 1 zloty. So this is, let's say, one of the tricks you can use to, let's say, build a favorable perception of your Black Friday offering, not really damaging your profit margin.
You shared, Marek, a good strategy with actually asking for the mobile phone number or email addresses in return of the discount. Are there some other strategies that you have used for the Black Friday that you think you could recommend?
Well, we haven't had that many Black Fridays behind us, to be honest with you.
A lot more than many startups. A lot more than many startups did.
Yeah, true that. But I can share my perspective on this year. So, there is a company that most of us probably know, which I believe is the biggest success in the D2C segment in Poland. And if you look into D2C, you should probably look up to them, which is Health Labs. So I analyzed, because a lot of people are giving them bad time. Oh, you give discounts out every week and you diminishing the brand and so on and so on. Still 60% growth, year over year, going really, really nicely. Probably going to reach, $250 million in revenue in a year or two. So that's going pretty good. And I, try to pick up their brain, what they did, because I knew they had a very, very successful Black Friday, the first Black Friday they did actually. And what they did is they asked people to stock up. And they asked people to maximize their AOVs. And you get a progressive discount with every, 100, or in their case, because they're pretty expensive, 200 or 300 zlotys you add to the cart. And this is something that we are looking into this year as well, because, the perspective it had to change a little bit because of our presence in omnichannel. So you get a lot more freedom if you work in a D2C purely model, obviously. But then, it has some pluses and has some minuses. But then we decided to grow our scale, which, it turned out to be a great decision because, bottom line and top line, we grew very nicely. But then you lose control over the discounts you get in omnichannel, right? Rossmann or some pure players, Cocolita, which was supposed to be here, so on. They can give out any discount they want on our products. If they want to lose money on our products, go ahead. They can lose money on our products just to get market share.
Yeah,
so
they're an interesting case because they don't really do the Black Friday so much.
They don't? Well, not according to my knowledge then, but but maybe. Let's see. If they don't, that's great news for us. So we have to adjust to that scenario, and the discounts, they have to be attractive so that we can gather the attention of as many people as possible. So we have to go higher on the discounts, but there has to be some rules that will allow us to maximize the LTV from the customers we acquire and from the customers.
So actually, what Arek shared before was that from the data that they have in Sublime, it does not make sense to actually give higher discounts than 20%.
I would strongly argue with that, and additionally,
this is an extremely surprising insight, especially considering the discussion that we've had, a week ago or so, kind of contrary to what we discussed. But come on, you just pop on, your internet browser and type whatever cosmetic or consumer brand you want in Google and see what kind of discount they have. It's going to be pretty hard to find a brand that is discounted by less than 20%, not, the maximum.
So what's the optimal?
It's going to be much higher, and at the end of the game, it's also worthy to do some tricks like, from my side, what I did, and I know it works for many various categories like cosmetics. Discovery discounts, that's one point. So, the discovery discount, either by hour or by day. It's worthy because you got a customer that is returning to your website, and it got one more point of attraction to buy something more. So it's worth it just to do, and connect it good with also pre-early access for the newsletters. Yeah, so it's two tools that it's worth it to just connect together, and it really works. I could just mention that from my point of view.
Yeah, cool. So what is the percentage?
Higher than 20, definitely. We got it. As high as you can get it, but seriously.
As high as you can.
Maybe from go for selected products that are top sellers or are just attracting people to your website.
So I will go further with that. Should it be actually your biggest discount in a year?
I'd say so. Yeah? Because. Even from my perspective as a business that I said is not very Black Friday heavy, you get a huge amount of the population, actually pretty much every single one of us, that is aware of the fact that today or this week or these 2 weeks, or as in the case of Media Expert, this quarter, you get best discounts possible. And you have to be able to meet those requirements, otherwise you're going to demotivate the customer, right? So it's a great way to increase the engagement, and obviously you have to build some mechanisms that will allow you to actually profit from that, because as my predecessor said, if you just put out 50% discount on everything, cool, you make a lot of revenue, or maybe you don't actually, because you make a lot of volume, but the profit on it and the margin is going to be pretty low. So it should be the biggest discount, but there are some tricks you can implement so that it's not it's not as easily accessible as just giving out minus 35%. You have to require something from the customer, right?
But can you actually mention one Black Friday deal that you bought something and until today you remember that you got this great deal?
I can mention a Black Friday deal that was too high that someone need to withdraw from that. It was from my history connected with the Q-commerce site. I don't want to mention the brand because it's like a bad PR. But when you just write in Google like 125 zloty promotion Black Friday, you are going to get the brand. And what happened during the time that they got so much volume and the customers and the clients during the day that the next day they need to say that it was like a mistake in the system and withdraw the whole promotion and cancel the orders and just cross out the promotions. So
again, that would trigger a walking. At least it should.
It should do. It should do. Yeah. So definitely.
Okay. So now the question about advertising. Okay, like we know we're gonna do some Black Friday great ideas. Now, when is the time, and is this really the good time to plug in the paid advertising to paid channels, or no? Or this is the time when you should actually be staying away because the costs per clicks are rising, like everyone is, there. So what about this paid channels game?
I mean, if you want to do Black Friday, then obviously yes. I mean, maybe if you have at your hand, some other channels that allow you to generate, cheap, big reach, then no. If you are an influencer brand like, Eva Chodakowska, you can just use your account and and reach all the customers you want. But if you do a good deal and you're convinced you have a good strategy and you think it works for you short term and long term, then you probably want to reach as many people as possible. And obviously, if it doesn't make sense financially for you, then don't. Okay, you pay more for clicks, but you get higher conversion rates. So you look at the CPO. If the CPO is okay, then you go with it.
But is there some secret sauce about the creative, about some strategy? What's the approach? Because, somehow, sure, like we're going to have a higher conversion, but maybe there's some other things that you guys can recommend to balance out this higher click-through cost.
I would make one step back because what's the goal of your Black Friday deal? Do you want to attract more new customers? So you need to pay for the commercial, for the ads, you need to do it. Yeah, if you got the budget even to do it in the radio, you are Media Market, Euro RTV, AGD, you got a huge budget, so just do it because you want to attract a new customer. And from my history, I got a small pitfall, I would say, that we propose in one brand, great marketing, pricing strategy, great promotion, great visuals. But what we did, we haven't invested so much in the paid advertisement, only use organic sources like, pushes, mailing, and the classic internal communication. And what happened, we got huge sale during the day, like the best of the month, best of the week, best of the year. But what happened, it just worked with the current customer database, not the new one. And so that's why I would ask, what's your goal at the beginning? So I would just make a step back and then answer your question if it's worth it to invest in the ads.
And a part of the paid advertising, like you just mentioned it, we've got our email base, we've got some users. What's the trick to play with it? Because from one side, like you maybe don't want to be so aggressive with your Black Friday offer to the customers that are already buying from you, but at the same time you want to increase the volume. Maybe you want to pick up those customers that have, pick a competitor product on the way. So are there some good strategies to actually work with your owned channels during the Black Friday period that you could recommend?
I'd say if you want to invest in retention, then don't be an asshole. So as Mateusz said, I mean, if you try to hide the message from your current subscribers that you get a discount, then you basically shoot yourself in the foot because you're going to lose loyal customers. So it's much better to accept lower margins for a single order on a loyal customer than lose him forever because he's being mistreated. So I'd say this is I wouldn't go into different gimmicks and so on with your customer base. Just treat them as you'd like to be treated. You do a discount, cool, accept the fact that some of your loyal customers are going to use it. But you invest in the relationship, right? And maybe you're not going to be able to generate a huge added value by this, but the alternative cost is pretty big and it outweighs the
so value. Give them some discount, right? What do you say?
The same one that you give to other people, I'd say, openly, right? If you have your email database and you can segment those that are in customers, maybe you can push them a little bit more because it's not open communication, it's segmented. But if you do an open communication, okay, everybody minus 25% discount, and you send an email to your subscribers, hey, you get 15% off, then you're an asshole.
You are touching like a crucial point. The goal is to attract a customer, so what you are going to do next after that, yeah?
Yeah, that's another question I wanted to ask you. But maybe to add one point to that discussion, we had a discussion with a client recently, what to do with clients, because we have to offer something to them during Black Friday, because otherwise they're going to be, not happy. But there's a good strategy probably about thresholds, because if you think about it, your current customers, they are used to buy from you. So maybe if you introduce this threshold-based discount, then you're actually giving something better to the customers who anyways want to buy more from you. So if the discount is higher with the spend, then you're actually giving something extra to people who already know that they want to buy from you more. And you don't really have to, diversify communication so much. So that's maybe one idea. But let's come back to this question, this point about what to do after. So volumes increase, everyone is happy, they bought for cheap. But now we want to make sure that they come back. We want to make sure that this was not just one-time, thing. So what are you going to do with it? Like, what are the steps? What are the strategies? Do you have some tips?
I would say solve it before Black Friday, not afterwards. So you have to understand your users and you have to have some strategy before you do the promo. It's the same as with the startup discussion with product to market fit. It's like, if you don't have the product to market fit, if you don't have a deep understanding of what makes your users or customers buy and use your product, then Black Friday is like putting a lipstick on a pig. It's like, it won't help you in the long-term growth and in your strategy. So first, understand your users, understand what makes them trigger or use your product, then do Black Friday, and then do the strategies that you typically do that they work. Otherwise, you just lose money long term. And it's like what you said, that maybe introduce thresholds so that they buy more now. Question is whether you're not sort of borrowing the revenue from the future.
Probably a bit.
I worked in Flixbus, and in Flixbus we always said that Lot made a big mistake with Szalone Środy, the promo that they do every Wednesday, because in majority of people who don't travel with Lot for business or any other needs that they actually have to be somewhere for holidays, etc., they always wait for Wednesdays. So actually Wednesday is their peak day, and we never wanted to do that. So we, for example, never announced promos because we knew that people would actually wait, which means that it's basically the same thing. You're giving up on your margins and you decrease your revenue because people wait for the promo to happen.
But there is a good side to that, I'd say. Szalone Środy, every time I click on the email, there is no discount. They just mention it in the email, but you click on it,
you buy on
and
Wednesday.
everything is regular price. But imagine there was a discount, right? With flights, for instance, again, you get a lot of shopping around, and it's actually pretty much the same with omnichannel. It's something that we discussed with Mateusz there about the big DTC company I mentioned before. So what you do is you target the demand before it actually gets created in the customer. So instead of him going to Skyscanner and looking for the best deal, what you do is you grant yourself direct traffic to your website, and if the deal is perceived as a good one, then you completely eliminate the price searching thing, right? So the customer, they won't go on Google, they won't go on Skyscanner and so on. They will just purchase right here, right now, because they know it is a good deal. And you always, you lose a little bit of margin, but you always have to think about the alternative cost, right? If if the customer were to do it in a regular way, he'd probably go first to Skyscanner, and you lose a customer to Ryanair, to Wizard, to whatever, right? But this way, you grant yourself direct traffic. Plus, what you do is you create a habit. Also, that's what happened to me multiple times with many different companies by small tricks. If you're convinced it's a good deal, then it works. With Volt, for instance, which I, as of yesterday, absolutely hate. It's my top nemesis when it comes to food delivery companies.
Oh, no.
They totally, got me as a super loyal customer for the past 3 years because I pay, 15 zloty a month for a subscription, which I'm able to save 15 zloty a month maybe in deliveries, right? So sometimes it does make sense.
Answering your question, I think you need to be prepared before what you're going to do during the Black Friday and right after, because many of you probably heard about marketing automation. Everybody is discussing that, but at the end of the game,
I hope so.
I also hope so, but usually the reality is like that the rules are not turned on. You don't have a rules for cross-sale. So if someone is buying a computer, you are not receiving the email, okay, buy a case and the mouse. So at the end of the game, if you don't have like a marketing automation, do it even manually just for the cross-sale, just right after the Black Friday deal. And then also think about the churn and churned customers, like the activation, special activation for them. Check the data, look at the data, how many customers churned after 1 month, and do something with that, yeah? Because at the end of the game, it's not worth it just to invest in the customer that it's going to buy you one thing at the promotion, and then you are going to lose it, the customer, but you want to invest in the customer that is going to be a bit of loyal with you. So just reactivate that, the customers and the clients.
And if you don't know how to collect the data, and if you don't know how to visualize the data, Sublime, they have great dashboards that we've recently launched ourselves. And, it's a great way of looking at customers, right? If you put them into many different segments, you look at, who are the lovers, who are the loyals, and so on and so on.
And the ad should now appear at the back.
Yeah, Sublime. And then if you don't know how to gather... And you don't know how to gather leads and automate,
come on, 20%.
Come to try.
I just said, a minimum of 30%. That's what you get in the internet, right?
Magic, but you wanted to say
I just want to defend my own baby, which is Szalone Środy, which I was partly responsible for back in the days.
Oh,
and
no.
I still believe, I'm not objective, I believe it was a very successful tool. For a couple of reasons. Maybe just to give you a background. I don't know how it's working right now. I'm not engaged. But back then, it was a tactical tool to create a habit for occasional users. Instead of, going to Skyscanner looking for a cheap flight to the southern Europe, to go to LOT and search for a flight there. So exactly as you said, instead of, let's say, they would just create a habit that LOT is a partner or is an airline, not only to fly, to the US or somewhere and perceived as expensive, but you can get at good deals. The other great thing was that I don't remember the numbers, but people would just click on an email and they would just browse for it. Let's say there was Szalona Środa or flying to Zagreb. And then, it turned out that they didn't get, let's say, the seats on the promotional flight to Zagreb, but still, they got in the mood that I want to fly to Zagreb. So instead of paying 300 zlotys for the flight, they would still buy a non-promo flight to Zagreb on LOT for, let's say, 1,200
Okay, guys, I have to stop you. I know that, here you guys like to protect your babies. That's good. So the baby Szalone Środy is saved. It's there. Don't worry. We'll not kill it. But I want to come back because we're almost an hour, we're talking for almost an hour now. And I know it's always an exciting discussion, but I want to be slowly going to an end because I also want to give some space to the audience to maybe ask you something. And before I give space to the audience, I want to ask you the last question. What's the biggest Black Friday fuck-up you have ever seen in the businesses that you worked with? Or at, you don't have to share that was my business or the name of a business. You can just describe what really went wrong somewhere.
logistics.
And exactly what? People...
bottlenecks. People wait for a week, 2 or 3 to get the goods. Fulfillment businesses don't really prepare themselves for it properly, or they underestimate the scale. Maybe now they got better, or maybe now the volume will be lower, as we had a question about this before. But I once had a situation where we had to sort of distribute discounts to people who bought from us as form of apology, which was stupid. But not much we could do about this. The fulfillment got overwhelmed with the amount of orders, and some users had to wait for 10 days to get, customers had to wait 10 days to get the product. So it's just on top of mind, one of the fuck-ups you can have.
Just imagine how spoiled we are as customers, right? I had to wait for 10 days. Give me a discount on top of that 50% that you already gave me before.
Amazing. Any other Black Friday fuck up?
Main website crash.
Another good one. I also seen it in my life.
The app crashes, so...
The app crash, logistic crash, everything. So basically the marketing works great, but then sometimes marketers forget, hey, there's also logistics. Hey, there's also a website. So everything that's not marketing really can crash. So
because, marketing has long-term consequences, I'd say. And it's not like I wouldn't describe it as a fuck up. You can kill a business with discounts, that's for sure, right? And is it a fuck up? Yeah. Is it just because of your Black Friday? Probably no. But, sometimes it creates a precedence, right? So if you go heavy on discounts from the very beginning and you don't calculate into it margins, and you're not 100% sure if your business can afford it, then you do a big Black Friday discount, then beginning of the year discount, then you do a Valentine's Day discount, then you do a Women's Day discount. Before that, I think it's a Men's Day discount as well. And
so
these
you're
are
going
the
to have a discount whole year at the end of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
You just described health clubs.
For some companies it works, right?
But yeah, if it works, it works then. But it's not a solution. It's not a secret sauce for everybody, right? So you can you can create a major fuck up with your marketing, but it's not like super short term.
And guys, any question for the guys before we summarize?
Because you have a subscription offer and one-time offer. Yeah. And what do you push during Black Friday, and which offer performs better during Black Friday?
So I will just repeat because we're recording. So the question was about subscription and one-time offer, and which one do you push during the Black Friday?
So Black Friday is for a scale. As I said, we mostly focus on acquiring new customers and re-engaging the customers with low retention. So this means we cannot limit the offer to subscriptions, and we have to make it as easy as possible. Subscriptions cost more to acquire, obviously. I mean, you get a long-term trade-off, which is good because you get a more sticky customer. But in promos like these, where the attention span, as I mentioned, is so low, you just go simple. And we don't do any dedicated promo for subscriptions, which is better because it doesn't work. It's not an impulsive purchase of subscription, and even if it were, it's the type of customer that's going to churn the next month or the day after. So what we do is we put out a general offer to everybody that is very understandable and it's easy to apply. But what we do is we always give the best deal to our current subscribers. Okay, does it make sense? Maybe, but it's just, they make from 6 to 12 purchases a year. If we lose margin on the next purchase, so what? We invest in the relationship in the long term, and it works.
Eva?
Yeah, I would like to turn back to the first question about participating in Black Friday or not. So you've been talking about many reasons why yes, why not. But do you have any creative ideas how to not cleverly participate in Black Friday? Because you may easily just neglect it, or you may use it to communicate why you do not, and how to win not participating in Black Friday.
Yeah, that's
a good question.
Patagonia did, right? So if you have your image based on anti-consumerism, at least superficially, I'd say, then yeah, it's a great way to create brand awareness, to create reach, and if you're the first one or the one that stands out the most when doing this, you can generate a lot of value for your company. And that's what Patagonia did, right? So
And
okay, I have one idea that we used. One of our portfolio companies is Salad Story, and we tested that Black Friday offers don't work at Salad Story. So we don't do them. But what we did one year for the loyal customers, you can just collect stamps and then trade them for extra, meals. We said, if you donate those to let's say wealthy cause, we're gonna double that. And then we're gonna just give this food to, let's say, people in need and those kind of shelters and stuff. So that was one idea how we kind of did not participate and wanted to participate at the same time.
Any other good ideas?
if you are a super exclusive brand with very exclusive distribution, again, doesn't make sense to do discounts on Black Friday because it just diminishes your brand value, right? So if you sell Ferraris, just don't do discounts on Black Friday, right?
Do we have any Ferrari dealerships here in the room?
People will buy them anyway if they have money.
I mean, I would probably from top of my head think about this idea of just doing a different type of your own discount and do it, for example, beginning of November or end of October. So do it really earlier and make it like, I don't know, your birthday month or whatever. And really gather lots of customers, do the same thing, but just do it earlier. I mean, I was thinking about this kind of strategy, but I think, and just concluding, and what you guys already said, and what inspires me are the crazy Wednesdays or whatever, is that in a way, people get used to some behaviors, right?
Yeah.
And if we all believe that people are getting used to spend money on Black Friday, if we are in this category where we know people might buy, it's very risky not to do the Black Friday campaign. And I think from this discussion, for me, this is evident. Like, if in your category people gonna spend, like, you kind of want to be a part of this, because otherwise they gonna go to your competitors. You guys also spoke today, and I really like that point that you as a brand need to understand, why are you doing this? Like, what's your goal? Do you want to get new customers? Do you want to get your old customers to come back? Do you want to get your customers to stock up? Maybe actually you need some revenue spike, right? There's lots of companies like, come on, it's better to get a revenue spike from your customers than to get a loan from the bank, right? So come on, that's your chance. Volume is one thing, and brand perception, getting email addresses, so many reasons that were mentioned today why you could do the Black Friday campaign. And it's not just about the money always. I mean, it always is in the end, right? But there's many steps on the way. And then we spoke about the strategies. And actually, I loved some of the strategies you guys gave. So we were talking about bundles, obviously. We were talking about these anticipation things where you were collecting, for example, emails or SMSs for the thing. We were talking about like maybe discounting different products that normally are not on a discount. Camille also gave a good strategy that now I forgot.
Discovery discounts.
Discovery discounts. And actually discovery discounts that you group with, you said
with
to group it with
early access. So
yeah,
like
so
a special code that you can just use and get an access before anyone else.
That was really good one. So
that's really
there's tons
early.
of things, but important factor, you have to plan it in advance. You will not pull it off if you're actually gonna start thinking about it a week before Black Friday. Like, it doesn't work. And then we spoke as well about like, okay, so what kind of discounts we should give. And that was interesting discussion because you guys are going like against the numbers that Arek was presenting. So everyone gonna actually go very deep with their discounts. And that's a good news, guys. So expect good discounts this Black Friday, because if these guys are saying that the discount's going to be 20% plus, I'm sure the market is about the same. So good time to spend money going to be on this Black Friday. Now we spoke a bit about trends, and I was trying to understand like what you guys are thinking. Like, are brands going to make more money this Black Friday than last year or not? Like, are people going to buy? I don't know. I think actually people gonna buy, and I think that those who gonna prepare gonna make money. I'm not sure if they're gonna make more money than last year. That I don't know. I mean, overall, I think the volume of Black Friday revenue gonna increase, but it's because some brands will join the game. And you know, last year there were still some brands in the market who are not doing it because it's still pretty new. You know, we're Poland, we're not US. It's still like becoming obvious, but not so obvious. And finally, we spoke also about like what you should do with these customers. And I love the point that you guys should remember about your current customers. Don't make it only about the new ones. Obviously, Black Friday is about the new ones, so you should play with the paid ads. If you don't, you might actually end up just giving discounts to people who anyways buy from you. So you should employ paid advertising. You should employ paid channels, but you should also remember about your current customers and give them something, some chance to participate, because otherwise they're just going to be angry. And that wasn't really your goal, for sure, to make your current customers angry with you because you're only giving discounts to the new ones. And finally, we talk about fuck-ups and something that we didn't put so much attention on, but we're marketers, you know, we actually do the campaigns, like we not really so much do the other stuff, but we should remember about the other stuff, because the mistakes gonna come from the other stuff. The mistakes gonna come from the website that didn't take the load, the app that crashed, the logistics that actually wasn't ready to send so many packages of the product. And finally, if those things are gonna go wrong, in the end, you will not retain the customers. And the retention, and that's something you guys should also remember. Good marketer thinks about acquisition and retention, and you guys should think about it before the Black Friday, who you want to acquire, why you want to acquire them, and what you're going to do after. And there's so many things you can do. You can send them emails, you can remarket them, you can do all this stuff to actually make your Black Friday customers happy. So thank you, guys. Great discussion, as always. Thank you for questions from the audience. And I think this year we will try to organize one more event. We don't know if we're going to do it with WeWork again, because this room is booked for the rest of the year, but we're going to find some way. Thank you for participating. Thank you. And yeah, thank you. So.